What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Beyond the Roll podcast. Today we had a special guest, Michael Hernandez, MLH Media. If you guys seen him on Instagram, YouTube, we had the opportunity to ask him some questions about the upcoming prospects in the MMA game, and just wanted to say that we appreciate his time, and we got to get some good info on Ethan Ewing. He just made his UFC debut against Malcolm Wellmaker, and he was actually the one who asked him the question about him being UFC ready, and that kind of granted him the opportunity to do his thing. So we got some inside scoop on his life, how he grew up. He also trains jiu-jitsu, started doing judo, and we got a good insight on Michael Hernandez, and I'm glad we're able to have an episode with him. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more episodes like this. Enjoy.
I am based out in the Central Valley, man. So if you guys know where Visalia is at, I think that's probably the best.
I'm in Bakersfield right now.
Oh, no way. Yeah. So you're like probably an hour out from me. If you know Dinuba, I'm originally from Dinuba.
Okay.
Grew up there, born and raised, and now I just tell people I'm from Visalia, because if I tell people I'm from Dinuba, it's gonna be I'm gonna be like, well, if you eat frozen Mexican food, like the burritos / taquitos you get in the frozen section, I'm like, those are made where I'm from, Reese Foods. Shout out my people at Reese Foods.
Nice.
But yeah, man, I'm from Dinuba originally.
Sick. And you also went to Cal Poly, correct?
Yeah. So I graduated. Yeah, I was a Cal Poly SLO, a recent graduate actually.
Congratulations.
Took me long enough. I was like, what's it, Tommy Boy, where he's like there for 8 years, it felt like. But, I was there for 5. Not even the full 5. I only took 4 and a quarter. But it was a good experience. Definitely a lot different of a environment than living in the Central Valley, but really cool. Really cool all around to be there, and just to overall experience kind of being at a big school like that. Because even living at Cal Poly, where I'm from now, there's about 20,000 people, and when I was going to school, Cal Poly itself alone had about 20,000 people. So just like, it's a pretty big place in terms of school and like how many people you're around, and it's just so spread out. So it was really cool. I really enjoyed my time there, and I have a lot of people. Actually, this past weekend when I went, it was a big reason why I went was because I made a college friend over there, Patricia Duong. She now works for BKFC in the Zone, and she does a lot of the post-fight interviews with the fighters as they're walking out, does all kinds of content with them. I actually met her through one of my good college friends in college, Matthew Ho, who's now working with The Athletic as a college writer for them. So it's just, crazy how the world ends up working and how everybody kind of intertwined and interconnected. But that's the short version of my time over there at Cal Poly. I could go on and on. I was there for 5 years. So.
Bro, I was there. I lived in SLO for 3 years, bro. 3 years we're trained over here in Atascadero at the Gracie Bar. So that's where we trained over there. So yeah. It's a really nice area, bro. It's like a college town. A lot of stuff to do. Were you able to train over there? I know you trained some jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. So that's actually, I used to train with Antonio Benuelos over there at the pit, and I saw you get working with like Cody Gibson and with Octavio Gonzalez, who's now buddy and professional, and Hunter Thompson. There's a couple of guys over there that do MMA. Alexander Inies, he was like one of the OG guys that I kind of rolled with over there. He was a 170 guy, so he really, really kind of got me used to getting with guys that are way bigger than me. Because I don't know if you guys can tell by this thing, but we're not rocking a whole lot of weight here. You know what I'm saying? We're part of the 145 and unders. 145's on a good day. You know what I'm saying? So,
okay, yeah. That's that real jiu-jitsu, man.
So Michael,
real skill based.
Yo, what's up, Michael? Anyway, my name's Kwame. I'm originally from San Fernando Valley, but I've been in
SFV.
Yeah, been in Paso Robles for like 9 years. Been seeing you pop up on. I've been following you for like 2 years. Love the interviews, but I want to ask you, so how long have you been like doing jiu-jitsu, or what was your first martial arts? Like, when did you start?
Yeah, so I originally started in martial arts. Actually, this is like funny enough that you asked this question. Everybody always asks me like, when I started doing the combat sports reporting. But actually started doing combat sports when I was like, I think in 6th or 7th grade. I'm not even trying to make the joke. Like 6th or 7th grade, I used to do judo.
Nice.
I did it in a church in Wheatley, California. So whoever was in that judo class with me, if you ever see me, say what's up. I do not remember you guys, but that's like kind of where I started. I hated it. I remember I hated it. And then kind of towards the end, it's always funny. Like, you know, your parents always kind of like take you out of something right as you like it feels like. And I started kind of getting a hang for it. And, you know, and then I think the classes were kind of just, we couldn't afford it or something like that. Like, it was something to that point where we just weren't able to, I wasn't able to go anymore. Or I think I was also getting older. Like, I was going to be hitting junior high and, you know, but I used to do judo for a little bit. I did that for about, I'd probably say like maybe a year, maybe a year. And then eventually I got into jiu-jitsu, that's kind of actually came about a lot later in my life. It was about 19 years old. Yeah, 19, 20 years old. And my brother started training. And he started training at 7th generation Brazilian jiu-jitsu in Clovis. And I originally was like, oh yeah, like, that sounds cool, you know. I was like, I don't know if it's my thing, but, you know, we'll see what's up. And I went out, tried it out, and I kind of just liked the fact that it's like a bunch of misfit athletes, you know, like a bunch of people that like maybe didn't work out in football, maybe didn't work out in basketball, but like they kind of just find a nick and a knack in something in jiu-jitsu, and I think that's really cool. Compared to a lot of other sports where maybe if you aren't good at one thing, you kind of get put into a box. Like the perfect example I love to give is a guy like Ray Allen. Like, Ray Allen's never going to be considered the best player of all time. Like, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, a guy can come into the UFC with a really, really, really good right hand, and he could just build a legacy based off of that right hand. And, like, he could potentially become the greatest of all time based off of one thing he's good at. And I don't know, that's kind of interesting. If you really think about that, that's kind of cool compared to a lot of other sports where you really, like, I guess it's testing to the being all well-asseted and all, like, you know, in all abilities, but I think it's really cool in MMA that you can go into something and just really dominate with one force. I don't know, it's a true test of willpower and a true test of dominance, and I think it's really cool. So that's really why I got into it and why I found it so interesting. And I eventually just got into the MMA side of things. My brother started kind of going more towards MMA. He started at first with just jiu-jitsu and going and doing like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu World League and all that good stuff, and then he eventually was like, I'm going to try out MMA. And so tried out MMA, and he's like 2-1 as an amateur.
Oh, he actually fights. Okay.
Yeah. So my brother, we have different last names because we're technically stepbrothers, but I mean, like, I grew up with the dude my whole entire life.
Yeah,
like, I've seen him naked. He's seen me naked. Okay. Like, we grew up in the same room, dude. We had the same room for about, like, 9 years. So it's like, dude, like, and when I mean same room, I literally mean, like, my bed was right here, his bed was right there. So it's like
literally stepbrothers, like the movie.
Yeah, like we're like, we were living together, we were doing the thing, man. So it's
that's
like,
cool, man.
You know, I consider him like my brother. That's why when people always ask about the last names and stuff, I'm like, guys, I think you guys can put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
You know, ancestry. I know it costs a little bit of money, but it's not too expensive. You know.
No, not at all. And you trained in the gi or just no gi?
I was more of a no-gi guy, actually. So in slow, just kind of, they didn't really have like a gi program except for at Paragon. And I don't know, I was more so into the MMA anyways. So I just decided, I'm just going to kind of do no-gi. And I really like that I decided to do that because honestly, I feel like if I were to have joined and only done gi in the beginning, I would not have enjoyed it as much. And I kind of did do that. I started training in the gi at first, and I just was like, it was cool. Like, don't get me wrong. I still love jiu-jitsu, and I was going consistently. But when I really, like, started really, like, getting just, like, a flow for it and, like, finding my own kind of style-ish. Like, obviously, I'm not saying, like, oh, I'm fucking Craig Jones or nothing. But, you know, I have a little couple of things in my arsenal I like to play around with. So, I would say, like, because of that, like, I have built that because of no gi, just because you get used to the MMA's flow of things. You get used to that kind of flow roll style compared to with gi. It's a lot more, you know, you can hang on for dear life. Like, you can grab onto a leg collar and just hang on.
It's slower,
that
right?
guy's got a good grip, dude. Yeah, like, if he's got a good grip, you're going to have to work for it.
Screwed,
like, you know, so.
I mean, especially with the MMA.
It's a slow art, as they say.
For sure. For sure. And how is it, like, adapting to like the MMA training, just because like no gi and training MMA, you know, you got knees, you got elbows, punches, like closed guards, really not as much as like a really dangerous thing. I mean, especially nowadays, but maybe back in the day. But like, how was that like adjusting to the MMA jiu-jitsu?
At first, it was really rough. I'm not gonna lie. Like, guys were fucking, they were throttling me, like, because you just don't get used to like holding a hand right there, you know. And so guys will just sneak a hand underneath, and I ain't gonna lie, I walked away from practice a couple of days with like some more swollen eyes than usual. Maybe that's why my eyes look the way they do now. Like I kind of always look at myself and I'm like, my eyes are really messed up. They're like swollen to like right here, but it's all good. You know, I just, I've, I don't know. I've like slowly you just kind of learn things, you know, as you go. And I think that's with every fighter. You just like, you know, when you first start out, dude, it's like getting thrown into a chicken coop and you're just like, what the hell is happening? Like everything's frantic, you know, and you're just like, what the fuck? But then you get used to it a little bit slower and slower. And some guys obviously have the wrestling background and have all this type of stuff to where it makes it a little easier. I feel like with jiu-jitsu, because of MMA, it kind of makes it harder sometimes because you want to go to your guard and you want to try and bring it more to the submission stuff. But that's not always the case. Like if you have a guy that's just really good at stopping takedowns and stopping like ground control, like you're gonna have a really tough time in a round of MMA with him. Like, you know, compared to a guy where in no-gi you probably would be dominating that dude, or you would be having a lot more of success. I don't know if that really translates.
That makes sense.
Makes sense. It does make sense.
With MMA compared to doing no-gi. That's just what I've seen, at least, and that's what I've felt. It's like when I would roll with guys that had a lot more of an MMA base or a lot more of MMA experience, they were just taking me to those places where they knew they would be able to get me to those ground and pound spots to then be able to transition to a submission base if that's what they wanted. But not on with the MMA. That's the cool thing though, is you don't always have to go to that. You can just, if you're pounding the shit out of someone, why not just finish them there? You know, so it's kind of why I think it's cool about MMA too. Is like there's multiple ways to do things, and that's why I think guys like Islam and guys like JDM are really well liked, and I think that's why this fight this past weekend was so highly contested, was because of those guys' styles and because they kind of have like the, you know, Islam's it's like the David and Goliath almost kind of vibe to it, and I think that's what really fostered MMA in the first place was, okay, what style's really better, you know, and I think that's kind of really what went down this past weekend as well.
Right. And like the game has definitely changed, you know, like especially early UFC, jiu-jitsu was like the thing that took over. Once you knew jiu-jitsu, you kind of knew how to stop these bigger guys. Nowadays, it's like you have to be well-rounded everywhere. And if you get one spot where you're really exploited, like Islam and JDM, it's like if he could just hold top half guard and, you know, apply some submissions, I mean, that will get the dub, and that's what happened this weekend. So what I was really curious about is like what got you really into the mixed martial arts scene? You know, you're out here interviewing fighters. I'm sure it's like nerve-wracking at times, especially, you know, these guys are fresh off a fight. These guys are full of adrenaline. Like you're like, I always like was very curious on like how the fighters were, especially when you first started interviewing them. Like how was it like adjusting to that, especially with the camera, the nerves? How was it like adjusting over time?
Yeah, it's funny. Everybody always thinks I love being on camera, like because I'm on camera all the time, and I kind of do it as a way to like get out of my comfort zone because I hate being on camera. Like it's not that I hate being on camera; it's just it is like how you said, very nerve-wracking. It's very you know, there's a lot of eyes on you sometimes. But I've translated it over time, and I think this is the best way for me to think about it, is I'm able to platform these athletes. I'm able to do something that a lot of them haven't got to experience before, and I think that's something that's really cool in itself, and I'm able to invest that time into them, and I'm able to look at their stories. I'm able to maybe ask questions in a way that they weren't spoken to before, that maybe get something out of them that somebody else didn't. And I think that's really what journalism is at the end of the day, is being able, I think that's what separates some great journalists from some like, you know, like they're kind of a little so on things and the way they ask things. And obviously I'm not saying I'm perfect at my job, because there's things I mess up on a lot. I have a lot of stutters. I say I mean all the time. Like, oh my gosh, when I watch back my interviews, it pisses me off sometimes the amount of words that I say and when I'm trying to ask a question. But I think a lot of it too with fighters is the effort. And I think it sounds so corny. It really does. But it's like a fighter, you know? Like, if you see a guy consistently showing up in the gym, consistently putting in the work, consistently putting in the days, you know, he's at every event, he's at every show, and he's trying to get his name out there, or he's trying to talk to local businesses, you're going to have a lot more respect for that guy as compared to a guy that's maybe a lot more skilled, but he just kind of sits back and lets opportunities come to him. You know, he's not really pushing his name out there. He's like, you know, it'll come to me when it comes to me, you know? And I think that's what my appeal has became, is, you know, people have seen me as a familiar face. They have came to see me at events more often. I think that's really what has grown, if I have even a following, you want to say that
I would
was
say
growing.
for sure.
But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. And then on top of like doing the interviews and all that, I think it's just seeing, I always say, like, it goes back to journalism, like journalism school, like representation through presentation. You're able to see yourself in something and you feel, wow, like, oh, I see myself in that. Like, for example, maybe a kid from Bakersfield doesn't ever see himself in a career in MMA, but because he watched Herman Tabauda from the Shoot MMA win a title for 559 fights, he thinks, oh my gosh, I can go ahead and do that. Or he's seen Mitchell Stipe go on Amanda Nunez's team for Tough, like a couple years ago. I believe that was in 2020. It sets bars and it sets standards for people in that area, and it's able to go ahead and build a vision for them as to maybe they didn't have that before. And I think that's overall what my platform has done, is been able to showcase a lot of voices that maybe didn't have that type of shine before, or maybe they didn't get out to an audience that now is able to go ahead and get behind their story and build even more of a fan base behind them. So I think that's the short end base of it, but yeah, I hate being like super duper on camera. That's why, like, even too with the vlog stuff, like I'm like, like, man, like you guys like don't want to see a BTS of me, man. Like, it's like
I want to see it, bro. I think it would be sick, honestly, just because it takes a lot of work. You got to do a lot of studying. Like, I can't even imagine all the information you have to know about these guys, their stories, the techniques, their matchups. Like, but the opportunities present themselves once it's there. Like, even with Ethan Ewing over here at UFC 322, the opportunity when you asked him if he was like, or if you could break down the question that you asked him for that interview. That would be awesome, just because he was able to make his UFC debut and upset Malcolm Wellmaker, and a lot of people did not expect him to win on 2 days' notice. So it's just like crazy.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
I'm almost mad that I was in the state of California, because I was seeing he was at like plus 400 odds, and I'm like, who is making these odds? Like, come on, guys! Like Ethan Ewing, like he just knocked out Billy Brand, and Billy Brand took Cody Haddon to a dark place in that fight too in Dana White Contender Series. Like, that was not an easy win for Haddon. And that's what I always get so mad about with these MMA fans, is like they watch one guy get knocked out and they think, oh, that guy knocked him out. That guy's way better than him beyond measure. And it's like, dude, that doesn't make any sense. Because then we go to guys like Islam Volk, and what? So are we saying because Islam knocked out Volk that Volkanovski's dog shit, or that Topuria knocked out Volk, so Volkanovski sucks? Like, this Volkanovski's one of the greatest featherweights of all time. So it's like, I don't understand where this type of logic lies. Like, I really don't with MMA fans. And with a guy like Malcolm Wellmaker, he was only sitting, I believe he was 9-0 coming into this fight. And Ethan Ewing, he's had this experience. He's a
champion already, right?
Yeah, like when you have had a plus 10 professional fights, I trust your experience compared to a guy that's maybe on the UFC scene that's 7-8-0, whatever, and has a lot of hype behind his name. And so that's why I really found it weird that so many people were doubting Ewing. I get it was on short notice, but man, if you watch Ewing's performance, he is almost like a perfect counter to Wellmaker's type of flashy style, to the big overhand right. Not overhand right, to the big hook coming in. Like, it just really, I felt like it was a perfect culmination of storms. And so when I asked him that question, it wasn't even because I was looking at UFC 322. A couple of people were hitting me up like on Instagram, like, oh, did you have like knowledge? Did you think he was maybe going to get called up? I'm like, dude, all I knew was that he was fighting for the title that night, and he's fighting Billy Brand. Billy Brand just fought Cody Haddon on Contender Series, had just had a couple of big fights, and A1 Combat has been platforming athletes to where they've been getting to the big show. And we've been seeing a lot of people from A1. I mean, we're going to see in a couple of weeks, we're going to see Peyton Talbot, who is an A1 Combat bantamweight champion. He's going to be fighting one of the best bantamweights of all time in Henry Cejudo. So I've seen A1 Combat put these athletes up before, and it's at a certain point, you have to look at matchups, and you have to look at, all right, like, I think that this guy's ready to be there. And I think I had thought that Ewing has been at that level for quite some time. And if he was going to be able to beat Brand, then I think that he was more deserving than a shot. So I was very, very happy to hear when he did get that short notice opportunity. And I'm really excited to go ahead and be able to speak to Ben Jones a little bit later today as well. So
the coaching was insane. Honestly, I watched the fight back because I was on a flight. I was on the flight watching the fights, and I was asleep. And I woke up and I saw my brother's like, hey, Malcolm Wellmaker lost. I was like, what? I was like, I wasn't really too familiar with Ethan and his career, so I watched the fight back. And Ben Jones, man, that coaching, like he was super loud during the fight, and he was just picking out these plays, and Ethan was just listening to him, and just like that chemistry was there, and I feel like that was like the huge part in that fight. Even I think Malcolm, hit Ethan with a few good shots, but Ethan was able to bounce back, and they were able to go back and forth, and it was a great fight, man. I really enjoyed that one.
You know what
Yeah,
tripped me
no,
out was like, I just want to say with Wellmaker, dude, like, Wellmaker, dude, like they were hyping him up so much. He was on like everything. He was on Ariel Helwani show. UFC was just pumping this guy up so much, and like it gets a lot of people thinking like, oh, this is gonna be easy for Wellmaker. He's gonna go in there and knock him out. Like, and I didn't know much about Ethan either, and it's like crazy that you just kind of have that. You have that inside information because you're so in touch with like everything, bro. It kind of reminded me of like when Joe Rogan was talking about who was he talking about? Alex Pereira when he was coming in, and they just knew so much about him already, and a lot of people didn't. So it's just like I know Joe Rogan talked about he used to bet on the fights too, and you're talking about you wish you would have gambled. So it's like you could have a lot of inside information, and I do think, don't you think that some people jump the boat too quick getting into the UFC, like they get an opportunity, but maybe they're just not ready for that stage. And do you think like it would be better, just to kind of like fall back a little bit, stay in these like, stay in A1 a little longer or per se?
Yeah, no, I really think there's become this like ideology of getting to the UFC and like building your name out there because the UFC sells itself as a brand building opportunity. Even Dana White says it all the time. He says this is not a career, this is a chance to go ahead and build your name and to become something bigger. So with that being said, I feel like why would you go into a big pond with such a small fishing pole? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
No, yeah,
if you are a fighter, like, why are you going to go into arguably the biggest net of MMA fighters in the world? I mean, it's not even an argument. It's at this point. It's actually like a whole lawsuit about it. Why are you going to go into that pool and just not have either the skill set? Like, I mean, Ewing had tested himself against plenty of prospects. Like, even the Roberto Hernandez loss, like, early in his career, that's not a bad loss whatsoever. A lot of his wins coming by finish. Like, he's very calculated in his performances. Even the Billy Brand performance was really calculated as well. The Wellmaker performance obviously showed through and through that he was able to go ahead and do that on short notice. Guys like that, I feel like, even though, like, I think I took a screenshot of his Instagram because you always see this, and I took it because I wanted to show people how many followers this guy would gain after his fight, win or loss. I wanted to see. He is at now 21,000 followers on Instagram. I mean, this has no, like, weight or bearing, but this is just going to show you that it doesn't matter about, oh my gosh, like, you have to have the biggest name going in either. As long as you have that skill set and you're able to go ahead and beat these guys that have been at that level as well, your time will come, and when that time does come for you, as long as you perform under the lights, man, like, you're going to go ahead and get your name to the top. The cream always rises to the top, man. That's always the saying that I will live by. And obviously with some guys, you got to go ahead and you got to make your push a little bit. Some guys got to go ahead and sell themselves, but I really think that, sometimes it does come down to luck too. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some guys on the regional scene, like, my God, Fumi Nakata. Like, I don't know how this guy isn't in the UFC yet. Like, if you guys have not watched him at flyweight for CFFC, he is insane.
Yeah, check
One
him
of the
out.
best 125ers on the scene right now. I mean, he could probably, like, they gave Kaya Sakura an immediate title shot. I would argue that this guy can get an immediate title shot.
Oh,
He,
all right.
I believe, is, like, sitting at the 11-0 range, maybe 10-0 range. Insanely good. But it's like, isn't in the UFC yet. And sometimes it just goes to a matter of the divisions as well. So it's like, I really think it's like a trifecta, like with cameras, it's like you have to have the shutter speed, you have to have the aperture, you have to have, it's like with the UFC, you kind of have to have the perfect triangulation of events to happen. You have to have you have to have your weight class kind of something just happened in that weight class to where they see a big performance off of you. And I think also, too, a lot of these guys fighting on platforms that maybe platform them a little bit larger. Like how I said, guys that are fighting at small shows at casinos that maybe you are getting paid out largely on the regional scene, but is that going to get your name to the UFC? You know what I'm saying? Like, you may be making 2 and 2 at this promotion for UFC Fight Pass, But this promotion's also, you're going to be on the main card for it. And if you get this win over this prospect, you're going to get attention. And I think that's a big part of it too, is being able to balance that, being able to balance the, okay, cool, this is a good opportunity for me. This is a good chance for me to go ahead and make money off of my name. And this is a big chance to go ahead and build my brand. And it's like how I said, being able to go ahead and balance those things. And I think a lot of these guys do that early in their career, where they take those money fights, where they take those, the smoker shows, almost like they like to say, where maybe it's not an official commission, or maybe it's not like the biggest show in the world. Maybe it's
somebody's backyard.
Pass. Yeah, somebody's backyard type show. But, hey, you know what? You're a professional. You're getting fights on your record. You're fighting another professional, and you know what? You're probably making a little bit of a bigger bag than what you would make on a larger professional show, and that's okay for a lot of guys that I believe are on the lower end of the regional scene. But obviously, once you start hitting that 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, I do think, you probably should be testing yourself on a platform that's on UFC Fight Pass. You probably should be trying to get your name out there a little bit more. Because, then you can be in a position like how Ewing was in this past weekend, or a position like Wellmaker. Wellmaker came into UFC at 7-0, 8-0, and had a couple of big wins, and he was arguably one of the hottest names at 135. So,
and you're still working a job. That's crazy. I was just, I was wondering, what about names like Christian Lee, like for one championship? Like, what do you think? Do you think those guys should stay at the organization, or do you think they should, have their prime years at the main stage with the UFC?
That's a good question. I think with a lot of those guys, I feel like it just all depends on what you're looking for in MMA. Are you looking for legacy, or are you looking for money? Like a lot of guys look for money with their fighting career, because hey, some guys know, like, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do after MMA. Let me just go ahead and try to make the fattest bag I can while I still have my brain and my fighting skills within me. You know what I'm saying? And I respect that. There's some guys that know that they can go ahead and build a brand off themselves. And I'm not meaning this in a demeaning way whatsoever. There are some guys that just really don't want to take the effort to go ahead and make their name bigger off of that. And obviously guys like Adrian Lee kind of have a little bit of a step up because their family name and so on and so forth. But even a guy like him, I don't believe he's the biggest in terms of marketing. I don't believe he's like huge in putting his name out there. Like, I don't believe he's like, if you ask a Western audience who Adrian Lee was, I don't think they're going to be like, oh yeah, I know who that is. They may know him from the Rotolo fight. Yeah. Maybe the biggest thing they know him from. And even then, they may not know the Rotolo brothers. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. Kind of what I'm trying to get at. True. With Western audiences, they may think like Corbin Blue is like grappling or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, this type of MMA fans, man. So yeah, exactly. That's crazy. Like, it's just man. That's why I always say, dude, like, I really think it just depends on what you want with MMA. Like, if you want to go ahead and make the fattest amount of money and you're just focused on money itself and being a big name in that organization, and like Adrian Lee set himself up pretty good at one. Like, if he wants to write out his name there and kind of become the greatest of all time at one championship, I wouldn't blame him. But if he wants to go ahead and separate himself, kind of build a larger legacy in the sport overall, then I would recommend, probably going to the UFC and testing yourself against the best competition at your weight class is more than likely the best idea. That's just my opinion, though. True.
Yeah, because his brother Christian is a double champ over there. It's like, what more can he do? Like 3 belts? Like
exactly. What? That's kind of the thing is with one championship, is I feel like they have so many guys that are like double champ, triple champ, like so on and so forth, and it's like how many guys can you get to be like double and triple champ before it's like, all right, guys, like it's kind of just like, how much competition is really here? You get what I'm saying? Like, I
understand that.
The guys that won championship, but it's at a certain point, like,
if someone's double champ,
and that's kind of like what I'm talking about. Like, what are you doing this for? Are you doing it to go ahead and test yourself and be at that top level? And if you are wanting to be at that top level, then you probably do need to get out of one and probably do need to go to the UFC, because that is where a majority of the top guys are. At least right now. You could obviously go to a KSW, or you could end up going to an Octagon. I know overseas those MMA promotions are doing pretty well for themselves as well, and those are they're paying pretty well too, But then again, it's like you're not getting your name out to a Western audience, so it really just depends on what these guys would be wanting to do with their careers at the end of the day.
Like with getting out your comfort zone, like I think you really showcase that doing a match while you're doing a commentary for the fights, dude. That was insane. Just looking at that on Instagram, I'm like, what? This guy just took off his stuff like Superman, just hopped in the ring and choked some dude out.
That was dope.
Or actually, you had like I'm trying to think of the match itself. How was that? How was that for you? Just getting ready for preparing for that.
It was, I've been grappling for a while now, so it kind of actually came about on short notice. You guys will get the full story in a bit. I'm just going to go ahead and put my
No worries
on the charger here.
Yeah, no problem.
Should have done this.
I don't think I've ever seen that done. Like someone just ringside
No, dude.
calling a fight, then like, hey, I'm gonna hop in and do this fight real quick.
There, I was. Everybody was saying like, had it happened before? I think PFL. PFL's. I always forget his name, but just
PFL.
Oh, I think I do remember that.
He ended up doing it, but
that's cool.
in all honesty, man, I how do I say it? I had been preparing like to grapple for a while. Like, I just been wanting to do it. It kind of just like I wanted to do tournaments and stuff, and I ended up getting like staph at one point that was really bad, so I had to take some time off from training. I had to take off like 2 months, I think. It was really rough.
Wow.
And so yeah, I just I was really like just wanting to compete for a while, and the opportunity came about at Sacramento State. Hector Fajardo was like, "Hey man, like we have a guy that has a grappling match that may need to get filled. Just kind of a heads up." And Aaron Rand, which is also their like amateur matchmaker, he kind of hit me up and kind of gave me the same kind of diagnosis. And I was commentating the card, so I had to know everybody that was on the card anyways. And so that I was just like, oh, like, well, if you guys need somebody to fill in, just let me know. And I kind of said it half-heartedly. I didn't
Really?
like, because I always mess around. Like I'll see like guys at 170 I need to fight. I'm like, oh no, screw it. Like I'm sorry, but like I'm just meaning.
Just joking.
I'm not actually gonna go. I don't have my license. I don't got none of that. I don't have medicals. Like I don't got none of that. And I mean, for a grappling match, you don't really need that. So I was just like kind of messing around, and then they're like, hey, if you want to do it, dude, you can end up doing it. Actually, like they were thinking it'd be a cool idea, and I was like, like, yeah, screw it, like, why not? And so from there we, like, I took it, and like from that Monday I was just like, all right, cool, like I gotta like make sure I don't look like a bum in there. So I was just like hitting 2-a-days, like, so I'd go and shout out to my guy Steve Ramirez over there. He does like 559 fight security, and also has a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So he was kind of just giving me a little bit of like, just simple kind of mechanics, simple things to go ahead and focus on during the match. And we were just doing workouts and stuff like that in the morning. And then I was going over to Elite Team Erosi, which is nearby me, at night. And I was kind of getting in some training with them. And
Sick.
Yeah, so honestly, big shout out to both those people, Felix and Gracie Lara over there, Steve Ramirez. They're real big helps in the camp and just really helped me get everything prepared for the whatever a camp was in those 4 days. And then I called my brother. I was like, hey, yo, like, I may need you to corner me for a grappling match on Saturday, like, just as a heads up. And he was like, I got work, but I'll go try there after.
Oh, man.
And so I was like, all right, cool. Sounds good, man. Like, I didn't think he was going to be there. So I was kind of like on the lookout for other homies that I may have known in Sacramento that'd be able to corner me. But he ended up kind of texting me before the show and like reassuring me like, hey, yo, I'll be there.
Sick.
Just like, I'm probably going to be showing up right on time. And so I was like, all right, cool. As long as you're here, we're good. And so, yeah, because obviously I was, on such a short notice, Steve and my other people were not going to be able to make it. And I completely understood that. I think it was also the same weekend as like a Jiu-Jitsu World League tournament in Stockton. So it was like on a Saturday as well. So I was just like, ugh, it was a little rough. But yeah, really good experience, really fun time in the cage. Shout out to Brett Butson. That was my opponent. He's the Sacramento State MMA president now. So, big things going on for him in his career. And he's also a journalist. So that's kind of why he took the match and wanted to kind of do it because, he wanted to be journalist on journalist. So,
nice.
Yeah, that was what happened behind the scenes, man. And then, they just kind of told me, like, you'll be the last grappling match before we go into the MMA fights. And then you'll go ahead and commentate the MMA fights when you get back. And I was like, all right, sounds good. And that's how that went. And then, yeah, I don't know. I don't, honestly, like, in terms of the performance itself, like, I thought I didn't do the best. I thought I could have done a lot better. But, that's for another day. We just got to keep on working, man. So.
It looked like you chained the submissions really well. Like, it seemed like you were in control of the whole match. A lot of these guys, especially, they're competing for the first time. I have no idea if you've competed before, but the adrenaline and the nerves could get to some people, especially you're commentating. Maybe you have a little bit more pressure than the other guy just because you just, you're hopping in there, but it seemed like you did very well. I was curious on if you remember your first MMA event that you went to, and if that sparked the plug for the motivation to go after this thing.
It was 559 fights 90 at the Visalia Rawhide Ballpark. It was Lazarus Maldonado versus George Burgos 2. No, George Burgos 3. There was a third fight. And that was the first ever MMA event I attended because I wanted to go ahead and watch a couple of my teammates at the time at Trifecta MMA. They were also fighting on that card, and Tyler Miller and David Mariscal. My brother had one of his friends on the card, and that's kind of like how I ended up getting involved in MMA in the first place. My brother was kind of just like, hey, like, I kind of wasn't like into MMA like that. Fun fact. I just was like, I watched MMA from the outside going in. I was just into sports in general. So I knew about the big names in the UFC. I knew about Conor. I knew about Nate. I was a big fan of Nate because obviously he's from California. But never was like huge into MMA. And then my brother eventually, like I said, got into jiu-jitsu, got into all that stuff. I went to go train with him one day, and he was like, hey, one of the guys that's here is going to fight in a couple of weeks at 559 fights. Like, you should go ahead and come with me. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. So then I ended up going, and then I was actually in a class COS at the time because I was at Cal Poly, but I had some stuff happen back home where I was just kind of not feeling it in terms of living on my own. I actually had, like, one of my close friends kind of passed away, so I was just like living on my own at 18 is a little rough. So I went back home for a little bit, kind of grounded myself, and I was really happy that I did that because I was able to actually kind of find MMA with everything that was going on. And so I ended up going to the fights, and then from there I kind of just wrote little like results on a notepad. I wrote a little article about it on the COS Campus Journal. I don't know if you guys can still find that article. It may still be up, may not.
We could look it up.
Yeah, it's like still that's like a relic, dude.
Crazy.
Yeah, you might have to frame that or something. Yeah.
No, for real. That's actually a good idea. I may do that. But yeah, it was pretty cool. They ended up emailing me. That was like the first time I got something like my email, my COS Campus Journal email, and they were like, yeah, like we'd love to invite you out to the fight to do media. And I was like, what? And so I just
damn, that's insane.
I felt cool. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, of course.
And then I went out and. They ended up kind of offering me like not a position, but just an opportunity. Like, hey, like we have like, a chance for you to do interviews here. And, I'm really thankful that I ended up doing that because I've met some great people doing the fights. I met some amazing people through doing 559 fights. And it's just crazy. Like, have you had grabbed little Michael, like when it's a 19-year-old, like, hey, you're going to work in MMA and you're going to be like, in a club with Rampage Jackson and Nate Diaz in a couple years, and he's gonna be doing all this stuff. Like, I would have been like, "What the hell? Who is Rampage?" I would have known who Rampage is.
Okay,
I would have been.
I know what you mean.
What the hell are you talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why am I in a club with Rampage Jackson, and why am I working in MMA? But it's just funny how life brings you down certain paths, man. And I went to that fights. I went to that 559 fights, and then from there, I have not. Actually, no, I'm lying. I've missed 2 events, but it was for a wedding of my dad, my college graduation. But after my college graduation, I drove to the fights because it was
I saw that. I've been following you for a while.
Yeah, that, man.
That's insane.
That, I was like, come on.
I mean, I knew you were about it.
Henderson Ferreira, main event. Come on, dude.
I definitely knew what you were about. Even this last weekend, I'm like, oh, you posted you're going to bare knuckle FC. It's like instead of like watching, UFC 322, like you're focused, which is like. I respect it. I know it was like your first. You said it was your first bare knuckle event. How was that seeing that live? Because that's like a different level of violence.
Dude, it was insane, man. Like I did not go in with those expectations. I was like, oh yeah, I've gone to MMA events, whatever. Nah, bare knuckle is different. Like it truly, like when David Feldman says it is like an encapsulation of like peak violence, it really is. Like you see some stuff in there that just MMA does not bring, and that's not an insult to MMA. Like I think. It's kind of like liking an Italian food and liking Mexican food. You can like both, like you can like both of them. It's just Mexican food got a little bit more spice to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the tomatoes they use in Mexican food got a little bit of a picante to it, and like that's kind of bare knuckle. It's like, a
lot of picante on the bare knuckle.
A lot of picante on the bare knuckle, man. So it's a cool sport. I really enjoyed it. It's a good time. The athletes are amazing, man. They have so much passion, and I just really love it. Really big shout out to all of them, man. I actually recently made a video, and Lorenzo Hunt, freaking Christine Ferreira, like Elvin Brito, man, like I'm gonna be so mad because I'm missing her name.
There's so many names to remember.
The fact that they all collaborated on that post with me and like showed love, and Britton Hart, my apologies, Britton Hart, they all showed love on that post. Like the first ever time that I attended a bare knuckle event, and that just really goes to show that they appreciate that type of coverage. They appreciate the questions, and that means a lot to me as somebody that takes the time to go ahead and do this research for them and go ahead and talk to all these athletes. It really does. It means a lot. And, you know, for a fighter like Lorenzo Hunt, who last time in the state of California had literally broke his arm sideways behind his back, and now he's knocking guys out in the first round after being knocked down twice himself. I think that's quite the comeback story, and it's quite a show of resilience on his part. So I definitely was very happy with being able to attend that event. And, I mean, I was not happy with the driving, though. Let me tell you, California decided to go ahead, bring down, like, 20 inches of rain. Something crazy, not 20
Oh,
inches,
man.
It was
a lot.
Insane this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think BKFC, I think there's a lot of potential there, man. I'd be like, you know, I'd be on the streams and I see they have an event. I don't know like everybody's name, but I'd be watching some of those fights, man. It's entertaining. I think there's some potential there, and it would be cool to see one live. I got to check that out live and just see what it's like. I was going to ask you, like, do you ever watch Slap? Or like you seen the highlights? Like, what do you think of that, man? Like, do you guys consider them athletes, or what do you think? I don't know. How do you train for that? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't hate on it in terms of like athletes getting their money, because at the end of the day, I'm always like, I grew up poor, man. So me, I'm always gonna hate on somebody getting their money. Like, you know, I'm never gonna hate on that. But it's like at the same time, like, would I be doing it? Would I be like working in it? Like, UFC would probably have to cut me a little check to be covering those events, and like, I don't know. It's just not for me. Like, you know, it's just Power Slap's just not for me. I've never been able to sit down and watch a Power Slap event. It doesn't interest me. Like, I know what's coming. It's a slap. Yeah. Like, it's not like MMA.
I know it's good.
Like, there's no element of surprise. Like, I just don't like that. Like, I don't think it's like, I do think there does require a requiem of skill. Like, you do have to have strong and semi-fast hands. Like, you know, but like, do I think that like, you also need that for bridge. You also need that for other sports. Am I going to go watch bridge? Am I going to go watch other sports? Probably
I don't even know what bridge is.
You know
Dude,
like,
I think Dana White would be
like,
grilling you right
like,
now, huh?
Ice scooting, like, oh, I mean, and that's not me, like, that's not me hating, like, on Power Slap athletes. Like how I said, I think it's super entertaining to see somebody get knocked out. Like how I said earlier, I think it's cool. But do I think it's cool to sit down and watch that process throughout? No, not really, because it just slaps. Like if there was another element, or like if there was like, I don't know, like there's just no like there's no like
something,
slaps, man. And like the fouls, like I think that's so like it's just so like I've tried watching it. Don't get me wrong.
You did?
I'm not one of those people that just hates on it. And like I even watched the reality show, for God's sakes. I wasted my time
a reality show.
That.
I didn't even know they had one.
I didn't know that.
I beat you guys to that, dude. There's a reality show. I was watching that, dude. I know, like
that's hilarious.
I don't even know who was on that show, but I watched it, and like I just couldn't get behind it. It wasn't for me. Like, and and that just goes to show, like, the athletes too in it. Like, I'm not really into the show. Like, I just wasn't into the show. I wasn't into the. And that's okay. Like, I hate that, like, there's this, like, I, like, thought ideology that, like, because you like MMA, you, like, Dana White has now made it, you have to like Power Slap. Like,
he does that,
Yeah, and it's, like, it's weird, because, like, it's like with boxing, right? A couple years ago, it's like MMA had this big thing with boxing. It's like, oh, if you like MMA, you can't like boxing. And now it's like, oh, well, if you like MMA, you have to love boxing because it's the root of MMA. And it's like, all of a sudden we like it because TKO is working with boxing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
it's all business. Like money involved. Yeah.
It's like, it's all money. It's all business. And I'm not hating on it, but it's like, dude, you can like something and not like something else. I don't even really care for boxing that much. Doesn't mean that I hate MMA. Doesn't mean that I don't like bare knuckle. Like, I can also like, I just like seeing different types of violence. I like seeing different athletes. And I feel like the platform in BKFC and in MMA promotions is, at least right now, a lot more fruitful and a lot more beneficial for the people covering it. So that's why I like it. So I don't know. I just hate that you have to like everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm not hating on it. It's just this world of like liking everything, dude. It's like there's no opinions anymore. Like, wow, there's a world of opinions.
I think that power slap's just for like short form content. Like when you're swiping on Instagram Reels, like you see someone get knocked out, you send it to your homie, you're like, God damn. But I think that's about it. Like I don't really see someone going double champion and fucking power slap or anything like that. But speaking of violence, man, like what do you think brings people into violence? I know it's like a primal thing in all us, but I feel like you have the first person kind of experience being able to talk to these guys. Like, how are these fighters? What is their mentality like after the fight? Like, do you feel like these guys could kill you like at any moment? Because it's like these guys are like for real warriors, man. I feel like the modern day like warriors. Like, how is that?
No, honestly, like I feel after a lot of time, like at first I was really like intimidated. Like you watch a guy knock another dude out in the cage, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, hey man, I actually got a doctor's appointment at like 10:30 tonight, dude. It's crazy, man. He does really late hours. But no, like, I just, I don't know. For me, it was always like these guys, they take their time, and it's like, it sounds like I just always feel like it sounds corny, but it's just really what I believe and what I feel like is the truth. A lot of these guys, they have multiple jobs. They have multiple things that they do. I have multiple things that I do to make it work.
Yep.
They spend hours of their day training and, just putting the time in even more than I do. And, like, for me, I'm a human being and I'm a man at the end of the day. And I have a lot of respect for somebody else that's able to do something that I can't. And, like, that's why I find it so crazy that all these athletes are like, man, like, you do this. Because, like, dude, I think it's dope as shit what they do. Like, it's like, so it's kind of cool. It's like a mutual respect type thing. And so I think at the end of the day, that's just what it is like we have a respect for both of our arts, like they think what I do is an art and I think what they do is obviously an art of itself. And I don't think there's any sort of ill will or like intimidation in that. Like I've never felt like a guy's been like, oh my God, like, I've never been like, this guy wants to fucking kill me. Like, maybe the Nick Maximoff thing. Like, that's my boy. Nick Maximoff and we locked in, man. We good, man. I'm actually do mean that. Like, me and Nick Maximoff are really cool. So, that's one of like my good people in terms of the MMA scene. So, I found it so funny when that, like, whole clip went viral because people probably thought that this dude hates me. But it's like, dude, me and Nick are cool, man. And he's a good dude. So, a lot of these guys are really, really good people in terms of what they do their career for. A lot of them don't really have like a selfish bone in their body. Like I've heard some of these fighters, like they'll have like a hemoglobin the size of a fucking baseball and like their wife is right next to them and they're like, oh babe, are you hungry? And it's like, dude, you just got your sense knocked out for 10 minutes and you won, but you're worried about your girl being hungry. Like that just goes to show a lot of these dudes got hearts unlike any other, man. Cause like there's just so much selfishness in today's world and so much like I feel like greed and it like watching MMA and watching bare knuckle, like there is elements of greed and there's elements of like hate and bad things, like just like how there is in everything, nothing is perfect in life. But I really do think that the athletes within the sport have made it to where I've been able to kind of see past a lot of that and I've been able to be like, wow, like it's like that Louis Armstrong song, it's like, what a wonderful world. Like, I just kind of look at it like that, man. Like, I
really like your perspective on that. I think, some of these fighters, just like, it's crazy to see like the duality of them. Like, I know you're able to talk to Alexandre Pantoja and like Brandon Moreno, names like that. It's like, they're so nice. They're like very caring, but in the octagon, it's just like, they are animals, bro. It's insane. Is that something you noticed?
Like, yeah, and I mean, I think it's a switch, dude. Like, it really is a switch because you have to think, like, in terms of even, like, everyday life. Like, if you got in a fight, like, it's not because you were feeling a fiend in a fight. Obviously, there's people like that. But, like, most of the time, those people are not good at MMA because they can't control themselves. They don't know how to be able to go ahead and, like, all right, cool, maybe I shouldn't try and just pound the shit out of this dude's head in with my fist. Maybe I should go ahead and try holding off on him a little bit on the ground, controlling him, and then going for a submission. Guys that have control and guys that are, like, that's why I think MMA is really interesting because there is guys that are able to build that element of control just enough to where they're able to go ahead and build themselves up to a skill level. Like, and you see guys like Kimbo Slice, or you see guys like super really like strong heavyweights that are able to go ahead and build their careers up like that. But I mean, does that always work out at the end? It's like And I think that's why you see so many athletes with control, like guys like GSP, guys that have been able to go ahead and harness themselves and be able to lock into the moment. I think that's why they have seen the success that they have. And guys like Khabib, like, you know, it's like, I'm not trying to like be like, oh, Khabib's the best of all time, but obviously he's considered one of the greater athletes that the sport has seen. And I feel like because of his mindset, because of his ability to lock in, because of his ability to go ahead and harness himself in the moment and not just kind of go for things. Instead, I think that doesn't really show your skill as a fighter. I think being able to go ahead and sit back and realize when the moment is coming to you and then strike is when like a real fighter, or when like a real like moment is shown. You know what I'm saying?
True.
I don't know. That's just what I've
No, makes sense, man. And I feel like the UFC and their journalism, I feel like there really hasn't been like a huge, like, I wouldn't say huge journalist. I mean, you got Ariel Helwani, but he has beef with, you know, Dana and stuff like that.
Banned,
but like,
right?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like there definitely needs to be some improvement on that scene. I feel like you're heading that way where it's like you're able to ask really good questions. Like I seen that clip of you asking Justin Gaethje that question at the press conference, and I'm like, wow, that's a really good question. And he seemed like he was really into it, and he said he had that Mexican fighting spirit. And it's like, I feel like those are the questions that the fans really like to see, just to get a little bit more insight on the person, their mentality.
Dude, some of those press conferences are terrible, dude. Like, you heard some of these, like, I don't know where they were at last time in France or some bullshit. Dude, some of those questions, even Dana White's like, does anyone know what the hell he's talking about? So it's like, dude, so that's why I'm like, you need to get into some of those conferences somehow, bro, and ask some of your questions, bro. It'll be a lot more
I've been saying that for a while, man, but they've
Like,
denied me
get in,
every
bro.
time, man. TKO,
Really?
Where's the love at, man?
You send like an email,
Yeah.
what happens?
You apply on like UFC's website and stuff like that, but they usually accept like larger platforms and things of that nature.
Okay.
That's just usually how the deals goes. But hey, man, you just gotta be patient and just wait for
Keep
your
grinding.
opportunity, and that's
Wait for your time.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing, man. You know, so I really appreciate the love on the questions. I do try my best to really like platform the athletes and make it to where you can see yourself in them in a sense. You know what I'm saying? You can watch Ethan Ewing's interview and be like, oh wow, like that's so cool that he's able to go ahead and step in on that opportunity and make the most of it and go ahead and perform the way he performed. Like, that's what life's about. Like, you know, everybody wants that chance. Everybody wants to be that guy in the arena. It's about what you make of the moment that I think really garners you a fan base, and what really has like, I think that's what like some journalists maybe miss, is so much more so like, not like, oh my gosh, like this guy is so great, like I need to go ahead and like, I hate the questions where it's like, oh, like the, you know, when like I think you were talking about the France press conference where they were asking the questions, like kind of instigating the fight, you know, kind of being like, oh, like what do you think of Cyril, like if they're talking about Cyril Gane Aspinall, like I think that was in Qatar, but or Saudi Arabia, my apologies, but you know, they're asking questions towards Tom in regards to Cyril, like, oh, like how do you feel about Cyril? Do you think the French monster is going to like dominate you or something like that? Like, questions like that. It's like, dude, like what do you expect this guy to, and what do you expect him to answer with, bro? Like, come on, man. Like that's kind of my thing with that. Like, it's like some of these questions, like, dude, you're obviously asking that with a certain answer in mind. And that's the thing about my questions. I never know what you're gonna say. Like, that's kind of what I like about it. I love the element of surprise. Like Lorenzo Hunt at the press conference. I asked him. I said, "Hey, man, in an interview with Patricia Duong, you said Thanos may have had a point with that snap. Is there any other historical figures or villains in this world that you have thought may have had a point in what they were doing, and maybe society just looking down on it a little bit?" And he said, "You know what? There is no heroes. There is no villains. There is no good or evil. There is simply just you." And it was a really good answer to that.
That's cool.
I had no idea he was going to answer
that was
like
cool.
that. I was like, wow, that's super insightful. That's dope. Like, I think that's really cool. And that's the point of my questions. It's like, I don't think journalists should ever ask a question and know what they're going to get back in response. Like, that's so stupid. Why are you asking the question then? The whole point of asking the question is to know, like, is to not know. Like, that's the whole element of it. Like, oh, my bad. Sorry. It really gets me when like these questions, like, how you doing in New York this week? Like, dude, come on, guys. Like,
how's the weather for you?
How's the wake up?
If you're going to ask about New York, maybe be like, oh my God, the fact that John Anik was the only one that made an Ewing reference with Patrick Ewing and freaking Ethan Ewing.
It's right there.
Off, man. Like, it's right there. Like, no one's talking about that. Like, come on, man. Like, oh my God. See, shit like that. Like that, where it's like the little details where it's like, dude, so many fans, you would have had that crossover of NBA, you would have had a crossover of UFC. People would have probably been like, oh, is that Patrick Ewing's son? Like, people are stupid. Like, people would have believed it. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously it's not. Ethan Ewing's dad's in his corner, but like, you get what I'm saying?
Multiple reasons why, but yeah.
So, oh my God, like people are, it really is like,
That's
it's
funny.
interesting, man.
I mean, I feel like the YouTube kind of MMA game is like stepping it up. You got people like Ariel. You got MMA Guru, Bedtime MMA. I know you've done a few episodes with Bedtime. What do you think about?
That's my guy, bro.
That's your dog, bro.
That's my boy. I've been invested in Bedtime since he was at like 10K. So shout out my boy Bedtime MMA. Yeah, that's my guy right there. And it's really cool, man. Like me and him like talk on like not like a daily basis, but in terms of like he texts me about some stuff, I text him about some stuff, he gets back to me pretty quick. And I think that's really cool, man. Like how he's been able to go ahead and not only build his community, but like he always makes the joke like, oh, I'm gonna blow up, I'm gonna forget about y'all.
I'll switch up on my day ones.
Yeah, he has not switched up on his day ones yet, man. So be good.
Yeah,
good,
man.
Baby.
It's tough. I mean, I've been posting on YouTube for like maybe, bro, I don't even know, like 2 years, maybe. Consistently, but I just started transitioning more into the MMA space, and it's tough. Sometimes the events will really, bring a lot of content, but I feel like that the YouTube has definitely changed the perspective on how the fans see MMA. A lot more people are able to express their opinions and share different things, make jokes, make tier lists and all stuff like that. I feel like that's what the UFC needs. I feel like we're kind of stepping away from that with the corporate stuff, power slap and all this money. I feel like, the people are kind of, stepping up for themselves, which is cool to see that the people are able to express themselves like openly and not be worried about some guy paying you or you can't say this, you can't say that. And I feel like that's cool.
And what I like about the UFC fan base compared to a lot of like other fan bases is, although there is like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of toxicity in the MMA and combat sports fan base. Like, and I'm not gonna lie about that. We're not gonna talk about that. But we will talk about the fact that MMA fan bases got some of the funniest people in the world. Like John Pork memes, bro. Like those John Pork. I'm still laughing at that. Do I think like the what's it called? They're kind of taking it a little overboard, like in interviewing him and like platforming, maybe a little bit. But the John Pork stuff is hilarious, bro.
John Pork.
Like in any other league, people would have been like, oh, this is so stupid. But dude, the MMA fans are like, dude, this is hilarious. Like, like that's the thing is like I feel like it's a bunch of just like comedians and like dudes that are just like kind of like I think you mentioned MMA Guru earlier. Like there's so many fans that are just like MMA Guru, dude. Like just have that like that joking kind of mentality. And like I mean, I think that sometimes the comments they make towards fighters and everything are a little ignorant. Like and do I think the comments that a lot of people make about sports are ignorant? 100%. So it's like, how can I get mad at somebody making ignorant comments about the UFC when they would probably do the same exact thing about basketball or about
any
baseball
other sport
or about football? When it's like, dude, you're not 6'5", you're not like a super athletic freak, you don't have a 4.240, you would never be able to compete in any of the major 4 US sports, you would never be able to compete in the UFC. Stop talking, like don't act like you are in there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
it's
that's
crazy.
I don't know. Even when you guys asked me about my grappling match, like, and about the nerves and everything, I'm like, dude, that gets multiplied times 100 if you're in the cage. Like, if you're in cage fighting. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Bro.
Like, that's what I'm like with the grappling. Like, I'm like, dude, that was a breeze in the park, dude. I used to get my face every single day. I was like, dude, this is easy.
Light work.
All it is people watching. They're like,
Mm-hmm. But some people, it's tough to adjust to that kind of like being in like maybe the spotlight, even though it's not like a big, event or a UFC or MMA. I feel like performing under that is definitely different from being in the gym. That's something I noticed from competing myself and just being comfortable in that state, or at least being comfortable being uncomfortable in that state, because it's tough.
Yeah, no, it definitely takes a little bit of a kind of just taking it in, breathing. That's kind of what I was doing, like right before I entered into the cage. It's like, all right, whatever happens in there, man, you just gotta let it happen, man.
It is what it is.
Can't get too much. Yeah, it is what it is. Dude. Like if you get taken out, you get taken out, man. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's tough.
At least you went out. At least you went out cool, man. At least people are like, hey, dude, you drip down and everything. You went hard, dude. Like that'd be cool. Like people showing up.
For sure. Is there any prospects right now that we should be looking out for since you're on the scene out there? Yeah. Only missing 2 events. Like who should we have our eyes on here?
Ooh, man, I got a couple names. For the itinerary. I love Shane Collins, man. Shane Collins has been a really clean striker out of A1 Combat. He's their featherweight champion right now. He's insane. I think he's one of the best prospects right now on the scene. Tony Cortez as well. He is a lightweight right now. He's undefeated. He's also from the Southern California scene. It's been a little bit of tough time getting him into a fight, but when he is in the cage, man, he is a force to be reckoned with. So I think once he gets into some activity, he is going to be a real big force. I mean, that whole Cobra team over there in Southern California is just really, really talented, really, really good. Isaac Thompson over there from LFA is also really talented. Isaac Thompson from LFA, originally from Australia, trains over there at Team Alpha Male. Oh man, there's so many areas and little nooks and crannies that I really want to.
I think you're the guy for that, bro. Yeah.
But dude, yeah, I mean, there's so many areas. Mason Hartshorn over there in the Bay Area, he's really I know he lost recently to Royce Butler. And that's another name, Royce Butler as well. Recently was the A1 Combat Flyweight Champion. I think he's another name that should be shortlisted to the UFC and somebody that a lot of people should watch out for. Christian Avalos as well from A1 Combat recently captured the 559 Fights professional lightweight championship against Samuel Alvarez. I think he's another big name to watch out for at lightweight. I thought he was possibly, I know Mateus Camilo was looking for an opponent. He ended up finding Vyacheslav Borshev, but I thought possibly Christian could step in on that, and that would have been a really interesting bout just because Mateus Camilo only has about 12 professional fights in his UFC career. And 12 professional fights in general, and only one fight in the UFC. And Christian Avalos would have been making his debut short notice lightweight. I thought that would be a really cool opportunity for him. But yeah, I think those are just a couple of names I could think of off the top of my head. Obviously, a lot of guys that are in the A1 Combat and in the 559 fight scene.
Right.
But I think those are guys that definitely, if they were to get called up to the UFC right now, I think they could definitely make a little bit of an impact. Obviously, I'd want to see them kind of grow a little bit more in the regional scene before making that push, maybe one or two more fights. But I think those guys right now, man, they, at least in the California area, insanity. Like, they are insane. Anthony Figueroa as well from Gilroy. He's training over there with the Academy Fight Club with Daniel Cormier's new team. He's 8
I heard of that guy.
Right now as a professional.
I heard of that guy.
He is a problem. So I think he's also another one of those guys. And
Where's he?
His only loss is to Christian Avalos.
He's from SoCal, or where was that guy
Gilroy,
from?
California.
He's from Gilroy.
So
okay.
Gilroy is like, I don't know how well you know California, but
I know where it's at.
It's kind of near San Jose, near Salinas. So right over near that nook and cranny. But yeah, those are.
Might see a lot of wrestlers coming out of that high school, probably transitioning into DC's camp, right? He's coaching those kids out there, right? The high school.
Honestly, what I love about DC is I don't really think he's so much focused on these guys getting into his MMA program, more so it's getting an education.
Get them into college, scholarship
programs. Then kind of letting them decide, hey, where do you want to go?
Hey, if you want to do this?
Down the Olympic route. Do you want to go down the MMA route? You know, and I think that's a really compelling route of DC being involved with both those programs, is that he's able to go ahead and kind of navigate some of these guys. Maybe he'll take some of them to Sacramento State to where going to the MMA program. You never know.
I think Kane. When is Kane getting out? Because he was coaching up there too, right?
He was.
Hopefully, he gets out soon.
Yeah, he trains over there at American Kickboxing Academy.
Yeah,
and so I believe he is supposed to get out in 2027, 2028.
Nice. All right. I heard he's doing all right.
He's definitely doing okay over there. I don't think he's doing too bad. I think it's more so just a matter of, the fact that he's in prison for the crime that he's in. And I don't like to put my opinions out there too much in regards to that, but I don't think that he should really be in there for what he did.
I agree. Are you familiar with Rafael Godspeed Jimenez and Arturo Burgos over here from Bakersfield, California?
Yeah. I actually know Arturo Burgos pretty well. I've watched a couple of his fights in person, I believe. Have I? I don't know about.
I think he had one in A1, maybe.
VFS event for. I've not gone to VFS event for personal reasons, but in terms of Jimenez,
I think he's like 2-0 right now.
I've watched it. I was gonna say I think he's like 3-1 or 3-0 as a professional. I know he's undefeated, right, as a professional, but
2-0.
He's also making a name for himself as well. Yeah, no, I know both those gentlemen pretty well.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, because I dropped in at Burgos, trying to find like a jiu-jitsu gym over here in Bakersfield, and just saw that they're competing in MMA. I think it's cool to see guys, kind of like in your area, trying to chase their dream as a MMA fighter,
Yeah, no, I think it's really awesome, especially too in Bakersfield, where it's like that fighting culture is so instilled, so based, that you have guys like that. And you have so many options over there in Bakersfield as well. You have the Shoot MMA, you have Pinnacle, you have Burgos, you have, I believe, you have Extreme Couture. Oh, not Extreme Couture. Oh my gosh, what is the name?
I don't even know. I'm surprised you even know the gyms out here, bro. You're tapped in.
I know. I got a little antennas. They go out to everywhere, man.
Yeah. How has it been like studying for these guys? You know, I feel like it's a lot of effort to know all these guys' names and their records and their stats and their fight style and questions to ask. Like, how has that been?
You know, it's tough at times. I would say with some guys, like with when they have a little bit more of a background in sports, and I'm able to go ahead and look into like their like track wrestling, or if I'm able to go ahead and find their like account on Flow, or if I'm able, things like that, it makes it a lot easier. Or just in general, Max Preps, like I've pulled stuff from there. Like,
I forgot about Max. That's a throwback.
Things like that, like I'd use all kinds of Google is crazy. Google is insane. You just
AI
look up
now
a guy's
too.
name and where they're from, and you can find out a lot about them. But in general, too, I contact them. I talk to guys. I, hit them up on their phone numbers. I'll hit them up on Instagram, kind of just saying, hey, man, like, I just want to get a little bit to know you about you before I talk to you or before I go ahead and commentate your fight, just because I feel like, obviously, like, why would you not want to go ahead and have a little bit of information known about you? You know,
that's smart.
I don't know. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, of course.
Like,
that's good.
obviously, like these guys are gonna have their own opinions. Like in terms of sometimes a lot of these guys don't even really care what I say about them. Those are obviously guys that I know. Like, okay, you probably don't care too much about fighting and about building your brand. You know what I'm saying? Guys
it's
that
tough.
Want to build their brand are probably going to go ahead and give me a lot more to work with. And are probably
For sure.
oh yeah, this is what I'm into. This is what I do.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth.
Yeah, because I mean, I could hear it in your voice, especially when you talk about these fights. Like you're very passionate about this fight game and mixed martial arts, and it really shows. I feel like that's being genuine is really what gets that across this screen. It's like sometimes we're just scrolling on social media, really don't get a good grasp of what these guys are about. But you could really tell. And I just want to give you your props for just being just a fan. I feel like that's what people love, just being a fan of the sport. Nothing beats watching a fight with your homies and just having a good time. Just seeing some unexpected stuff because, I mean, I'm just thinking of a fight right now, like Diego Lopez versus Gene Silva, dude. I was losing my damn mind watching that fight, dude. I was just like, I was like, bro, this is like the best thing ever. Even though just like, sometimes there is some dark spots about the fight game, people getting knocked out in front of their families, CTE, all that stuff. But there is some good sides to it. And it's very entertaining. So just want to give you your props there, bro.
Thank you, man. No, I really appreciate that, and it means a lot, especially too because I put a lot of time into into my prep, into things like that. So it really does mean a lot that you guys are watching the content, not only watching the content, but you guys are appreciating the effort and everything that I do try and put into it, because it definitely does. There is days and nights where I'm like, man, I wonder how many people are actually like interested in what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? But it's like that. I think there's like a meme online where it's like, you have 10 people listening to you on Instagram. It's like, imagine 10 people in front of you.
Yeah,
exactly.
I just kind of always think about that type of thing where it's like, yeah, I may only have 30 people listening, but it's like, if I was in a room speaking to 30 people, that's a whole conference room full of people.
That is.
You know what I'm saying? And
exactly.
That's a pretty cool thought to think about sometimes. And so I think sometimes just being able to sit back and think about reality and not so much. I think we all get so caught up. I hate to be that guy, but, we all get so caught up in the social media end of things. We get caught up so much in views and in
numbers.
I'm not going to lie. I do too. It's a constant cycle. Yeah. But I think it's just being able to ground yourself and even being able to tell yourself, like, hey, like, you're putting in the consistent work. Like, think about what you were at 2 years ago. Like, dude, me 2 years ago, I was not even at 1,000 followers, like, on Instagram. And, like, my YouTube, I didn't even have a YouTube. You know what I'm saying? And now it's nearly at 600 subscribers. Obviously, that's not a ton. But still, like, we're nearing to the 1,000 range. With my Instagram, we're nearly at 5K. We're building the platform slowly but surely. Yeah. And, like, I've gotten to talk to some pretty cool athletes over the years. Like, we just talked about Diego Lopez. I got to interview him before that fight against Gene Silva. That was a really cool opportunity. I've gotten to speak to Alexa Grasso. I've gotten to speak to Brandon Moreno. I've gotten to speak to a lot of these athletes to where it's like never would have imagined that. I never would have imagined, like, even too, like, I have the story of being able to take them to a Fresno Grizzlies game. Like, I was sitting in a box with Brandon Moreno and Alexa Grasso, just
Crazy.
do their thing.
You reached out to them
and
and
fights for 559.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I was working 4-5. So I worked 4-5-5-9 as their public relations coordinator, and I also work with them doing their commentary and their interviews and all that stuff. And so with that, I kind of have, built a little bit of a connection in terms of, helping out with all the events goings and making sure that all that stuff goes on. And so they had an appearance at the Fresno Grizzlies game. So I just went by and make sure, not like went by, but I went there, make sure that everything was good, make sure like, nobody tried to tackle them or anything. They could defend themselves. But
that's what I'd say. Is like
that that they were all good and that they didn't have anything that they needed assistance with, or if they did need any assistance, and I was going to go be of help to them. But being able to be presented with those opportunities and being able to work with those type of athletes, being able to work with athletes in general, is just an honor, and it's something that I don't take for granted. I know a lot of people oftentimes like look at my content or like maybe think like, oh, like I have a certain like, I don't know. I've been approached and been like, yeah, I kind of thought you were going to be an asshole. And I'm like, damn, man. I was like, what? You guys watch my interviews with me, man. I'm like, shit. But no, man, I really do. I do it for the best of these athletes, man. And if it ever comes off as anything more than that, then I truly do mean my biggest apologies. But no, it's awesome that you guys are liking the content. I hope that other people are liking the content, and hope that we can continue this going forward into 2026, man.
For sure.
Yeah, man.
For sure. And were you able to train with Brandon Moreno? I know you were like in a rash guard or something like that. I just wasn't sure when you did that interview with him.
Yeah, I mean, we hit like pads and stuff like that. I wasn't like
that's sick.
Like,
I would have been like tripping out, like what's going on? Like,
yeah. No, I mean, he made the joke like, "Oh, if you want to interview me, you're gonna have to train with us." And I was like,
"Oh shit!"
Well, like, I wanted to spar, and I was like, "Fuck!" I was like, "I got clothes in my car. I can go change real quick."
Oh god,
it'd be worth the interview though.
I don't know. Yeah, I was gonna say like, I have a black eye in the interview, but. Yeah, that's what happened with that, and so but I misunderstood it. He was just being sarcastic, and so Brandon's very sarcastic. Like he likes to have fun, he likes to joke around and stuff like that. I didn't get that though. I thought he was being dead serious, and so I went to go change in my stuff, and he's like, "Oh, I was just messing with you, man." Like I was like, "Oh, dude,
it's gonna be like that." Strickland, bro. That's a Strickland interview. That guy can make you spar, bro.
Dude, I was like,
that's scary.
I was like, oh. Well, like Brandon's around my size too. Like in terms of like physical.
So you could take him.
Like,
oh, okay.
No,
you might be all right.
I don't want that. I don't want that smoke. Like Sean probably would like take it a little easy on me, hopefully, because he would see. Like,
I don't know. Hopefully the cameras aren't on.
200-pound dude, guys. When he was fighting
Sneeko.
What's his name?
Oh yeah, Sneeko.
He was taking it so easy on. I've watched Sean Strickland sparring sessions before. That dude. No, like, dude, he was not putting it on Sneeko. He was like pitter pattering at him, dude. That's what like I don't think people realize is like these UFC athletes, if they really put it on each other, like that's at him at like 30%, dude. I guarantee you. Like if Sean's actually hitting the bag, going 100%, and even then, that's not Sean's style. You get what I'm saying? Like Sean's not 100% gonna throw a lot of power into a right hook type of guy. True. Like we've all watched Sean Strickland fight.
That's true.
So, like his punches are normally at the 60%, 70% range anyway. He was not going around Sneeko. Like I live by that and I die by that. And I find it so funny that so many people were like, "Oh my god, he was trying to kill Sneeko." I'm like, dude, Sneeko literally agreed to doing that. Like, what do you guys? You just want him to tee off? Let Sean Strickland get teed off on? Like that's not gonna happen, dude. He's a UFC fighter. Like at the end of the day, he's like,
it's true. Hell yeah.
And he's not like a guy that like is cool with Sneeko to where he's like, oh yeah, like like let's like it's not like Aiden Ross type thing. And even then, I think if you were to stream
that was
Aiden,
crazy.
You probably would put it on Aiden too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like it's like Ali did too. It's like that's
triangle.
That's how it is.
Reverse triangle. Yeah, that was crazy.
That was funny.
I was like surprised.
Work, man. That was crazy work. Someone did that to me in the gym, and I just woke up. I would be like, dude, what the man? Like I don't even know how to
on
react.
camera too.
I wouldn't react. I wouldn't know what happened.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've been training a few times and I've like been very close to going out and I just like open my eyes. I'm like, whoa. Like it feels like you just like teleport into this like new dimension. It's like, oh my goodness. This is wild.
I haven't gone out yet. I have not gone out.
Yeah, that's good. Because I hear if you go out, it
makes it easier. Yeah, that's supposedly what they say.
That's what I heard. Hodger Gracie said that. So
yeah, I was gonna say I don't know how true that is, but I do think definitely like once your brain has that ability to turn the switch off in that moment, it's going to protect itself.
Hey, how about when Rogan? I would say when Rogan would interview fighters after they got knocked out. Like, let's
dude,
oh man,
he doesn't do it anymore.
It's always like, yeah, dude, they always like have like stuttered speech and like, yeah, no, it's rough, man. Like I always hate when like guys like always tell me like, why don't you interview the people that lose their fights? I'm like, cuz man, like I don't think it's appropriate in that moment unless that guy wants to get it off his chest. Like I've only interviewed I think a couple of guys where, you know, and I was like Billy Brand and a couple of other dudes where I've talked to them after their losses, and it was because like either A, the promotion wanted me to, or B, because they wanted me to. Like they had something they had to get off their chest. They, you know what I'm saying? And like with the guy like that, I'm not gonna take away the platform from them. That's what I'm there for.
Yeah. But
I'm not going to put them in a spot where I feel like it's disadvantageous for them or where it's like putting them in a spot to where they're going to be, I don't know, kind of used in a sense, you know, like, yeah, kind of just like, you know, and like get thrown. I don't really think that's okay.
Yeah.
So
swag.
That's just my opinion.
Oh, so Michael, what are your thoughts on this Payne Talbot and Henry Cejudo matchup here? I feel like, you know, you've been on the scene for a little bit. It's a very interesting matchup here.
Yeah, I think Payton can take it. I really do. I don't think that Payton's grappling is as bad as a lot of people think. I think that Raoni Barcelos kind of caught Payton on a weird night, and I just watching that fight back, just Payton does not really look like at all himself that fight, and so I really think that I honestly think that he could beat Cejudo. That's just me. I don't think Cejudo looked very good in his Song Yadong fight, but then again, Cejudo is a different beast. Like, if he really has been preparing, like how his old self has, I know his last couple of camps have kind of been a little iffy just because he's been dealing with injuries, stuff like that. If he's able to go ahead and... That's the thing, is once you get to that older kind of age, it's like there's just so many obstacles to even getting to the cage that I think that's what makes it so difficult, and that's why you see so many of these athletes, so many of these fighters that are at that older age lose to these younger guys, because these younger guys don't have all these hurdles in terms of, yeah, you have a broken hand during training because your hands have been just throttled over 20 years of training. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's a young man's game at the end of the day, and I think that that gets shown more and more. I mean, we've seen it this past weekend. Michael Morales beating Sean Brady. We've seen Leon Edwards getting knocked out by Carlos Prates. You know, and it's it's not that crazy of an age gap, but it's just you see the amount of fights that these guys have taken and the amount of damage that these guys have been able to withstand. And it's like you can only take so much after so long. And it's like we were just talking about you being KO'd and your switch being turned off. It's like when your brain has that ability and when it has that thought process, I think that's why when guys do get finished and they are able to come back, it does mean a lot, and it does go show a lot to their grit because they're able to get past their own brain in a sense. You know, they're
shout out Charles Oliveira.
Own, like, you know, yeah, exactly. It's like for guys like Charles, I think that's why they've been able to go ahead and build that fan base, because people think of themselves in moments of like that, like, dude, like I would have fucking quit, you know, and it's like that's not what Charles did, you know, like that's not what a lot of these athletes do. So I think that's why you also see a lot of these athletes kind of grow a little bit of a liking, you know, grow a little bit of a following. I mean, even guys like Bobby Green, it's like that kill or be killed mentality. I think that really it grows on a lot of people. For sure. I mean, Bobby's been fighting for a long time, bro. He's had a lot of fights. Do you think he has a few more left in him before he hangs it up? I think he was supposed to fight against Renan Ferreira, I believe. Yeah. And that fight kind of got pulled. I would say got like at least one or two more left in him. Do I think he should be fighting the top of the top team in the top? Probably not. I think that after that Jalen Turner KO, it's just real rough, but in terms of setting him up against that type of competition. But I do think that he should I think he should get a couple more in there. I do think that Bobby's not like completely out of his like fighting days, you know, like there's some guys where it's like when Chuck got knocked out a couple of times, like, all right, maybe this guy shouldn't be fighting. That's someone switch who just like watching Tony fight in the UFC, and it's like, all right, maybe Tony shouldn't be fighting anymore. It's very evident, you know, but I still think with Bobby, he still has that ability, he still has that twitch in a little bit. So as long as I see guys still kind of with that, then I think, you know, I think they should still be able to go ahead and test themselves a little bit. I think honestly, I think it'd be pretty cool to go ahead and see like Bobby Green versus like Jim Miller or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that'd be good. Unk versus Unk, you know? What I'm saying? Like, yeah. Unk versus Unk. Yeah. Like, yeah, Jim Miller. Again, man. Like, you know, I thought it was a pretty good fight the first time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why it wouldn't be like both those guys are kind of at the end of their, you know, like you could always just kind of throw those, like, I mean, like that type of matchup. You know what I mean? Where there's so many veterans, especially at lightweight too. Like, but hey, I wouldn't mind it a second time. Like, they want to throw that together another time. Like, dude, why not? Make it for 400.
Yeah.
Bobby
you did
Greenberg,
say
Jim
that.
Miller too, main event.
Yep.
All right.
Sarcasm, by the way. Sarcasm.
No.
But
I know you guys
think
at the
that
press
Bobby
conference.
At least got a couple more in them. At least a couple more.
Do you have like a favorite fight of all time in the UFC?
Favorite fight of all time?
Damn.
Like you go back on UFC Fight Pass and you watch him, like, man, this
I don't
was
know.
insane.
I've watched so many fights to where it's like almost not like I'm like played out of fighting because I definitely obviously have fights every other weekend. But I've just been like, all right, like I've watched this before, like, you know, like it's kind of like movies, like, you know, that's kind of what I look at it as. Like if you've watched a movie before, like how many more times can you watch a movie before you're like, all right, like I'm kind of just tired of this thing. Like
I could watch Kung Fu Panda and Nacho Libre like all the time, bro. I don't know why.
Like, I can only watch a movie a couple times before I'm just like,
yeah, it just doesn't hit the same. Exactly.
Like, you know, it just doesn't hit the same. Yeah. So it's like for me with the fight, like I've maybe watched a couple of fights back. I'd say like Gilbert Melendez versus Diego Sanchez, one of those fights I can always watch.
Oh, that was a crazy ass fight.
Man, I'm trying to think. Nate
I like
Diaz,
Brock and Kane.
Any Nate Diaz fights are pretty entertaining. Any Kane Velasquez fights, that's actually another good one. Like I like
one of my faves.
like cardio wise. So like Nate, Anthony Hernandez, another one of kind of guys I like. But like would I say that I go back and watch their fights? Not necessarily, just because I always go and I'm watching fights in general. So it's like there's some guys I enjoy watching more than others. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, like Gilbert Melendez, Diego Sanchez fight, definitely a pretty good one.
Dope.
I really enjoyed that fight. That's probably one of like my favorite fights of all time, if not my favorite. So,
Hey, I want to get your opinion real quick on Ronda, man. She was, you know, I seen her on some, you know, just out here talking about, oh, nobody likes me. If I go to UFC, I'll get booed, and that's crazy because I'm like a huge Ronda Rousey fan, and like I don't know where she's getting all that. Like, dude, she's literally like the UFC, and that was one of the craziest fights too when she got head kicked by.
It's just some of the comments that she has made over the years have kind of just been a little bit, you know, testy towards the UFC and have been testy towards their athletes. So I feel like, especially too with her move to the WWE, you know, she's kind of had this like, you know, UFC fans often have this thing with athletes that go to the UFC, that go to the WWE, where it's like this, you know, they copped out. Like, you know, they didn't want to go the hard route. They didn't want to go the real route. And I don't really think that's what it was. I think with Ronda, it's like she's already built so much of a big name for herself outside of the sport that, dude, why not take the opportunity at the WWE?
Yeah, I wasn't mad at her. I was like, get your money, you know?
I don't hate it. I don't hate her. I think that with her, like, it's like she's dug her own grave type thing. She's made certain comments and she's said certain things to it where it's like you can't expect people to go and want to go to bat for you all the time. Does that follow? I don't know if it really makes sense.
Even what you said about Joe is like
behind it.
Joe's a huge fan of Ronda.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, there's just some things. It's like, okay, like, do you necessarily need to say that? Do you need to, especially with the guy like Joe, who has defended her so many times, who has platformed her so much? It's like, does that really, like, is that the necessary comment to make? Like,
it wasn't even like a serious topic.
Like,
it was like a joke,
Yeah, that would be like me going up to Justin Gaethje and being like, yeah, he's a doofus, or, oh, he's an idiot. Like, Justin Gaethje's given me one of my biggest moments in my career in terms of being a journalist. Like, I would be wrong if I ever said anything wrong about Justin Gaethje in that type of light, or if I ever spoke about him like that. That would just be ill-willed of me, and I feel like with a lot of these people, it's more so like that, where it's like, you know, there's just an ill will type of thing. And it's like, I don't think that Ronda was being ill-willed in her comments. I think she was just being ignorant. And I think that that's really what it came down to. And I think that I don't think the real brass at the UFC hates her. I really don't. I mean, like how you guys said, she's built so much for the company. So it's like, how could you hate her? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. That's just
it was just really confusing. Like, she goes on the Bert Kreischer show, and I'm just like, I'm listening to it.
I don't know why she was on the Bert Kreischer show. Like, can we talk
I was so
about
confused.
Why was she on the Bert Kreischer show? Like Bert Kreischer is already like if we're talking about out of prime, Bert Kreischer, come on, dude. Like who the fuck watches Bert Kreischer? Like,
nobody, bro. He's not that funny, dog. He's not that funny, dog.
Yeah, you're a fucking idiot. Like I actually will. Yeah, you don't clip me saying that, but like Bert Kreischer, you're a fucking idiot, dude. Like I'm sorry, but
I'll second that.
Okay. Like I can't listen to that guy and think he's funny. Like I'm sorry. Like I tried. I even watched the movie, that Machine movie. I did not laugh.
I didn't even watch it.
No, I haven't watched it either, bro.
I didn't watch the full thing. I couldn't. It was not funny. Like it did not make my time enjoyable. And like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why
The only
she's on
time I'm
there.
able to tolerate Bert Kreischer is when he's talking to Tom Segura.
The bear show or whatever, the bear cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, but fuck, dude, I don't know why she on. It's just negative energy. It was whack, bro. And I was like, what is she doing? Why did she come out? Like, why did she fail to come out? She have a book coming out, a movie? Like,
Yeah,
none of this shit makes any sense.
She had a book that she's like kind of writing and that she came out with. So I think she's kind of just making
that was a promo
and probably got set up with like promo, but the way it goes, man. I don't know. I think
fuck,
definitely not the smartest route for her to take to kind of bash like her main fan base because
supporter
that she definitely has like.
I want to see you interview.
Like, there's still a lot of Ronda Rousey fans out there, man.
Hell yeah! Hey, I want to see you interview Tito Ortiz though, bro. That would be the best interview right there.
I think I maybe want to make that happen, man. I got some.
He's a local.
Tito, I think. Hey, I can make.
I want to outlive my children.
100%. He has so many good quotes, man.
Dude, he's
Tito's a legend, man.
No, he is.
Good, man.
No, but for real,
I
no
want to meet him
seriousness.
one day. He's in Florida though, man. So he's across.
Really?
The
He's
country
in Florida now.
Oh my gosh.
He's across the country. He's no longer the Huntington Beach bad boy. He's like I forgot where he's at, but he owns a restaurant over there. So he's over there in Florida.
Oh yeah, I've seen some clips of him promoting it.
He like goes to he has like a cantina or something like that. So
yeah,
he's over there, man.
Maybe get a vlog over there, man. I know, maybe get on the vlog side. I feel like you do really good with that, or just the MMA kind of takes.
I may have to do like more vlogging type content. I think in the future, just because I actually do have a BKFC vlog kind of coming up here this upcoming week. I've just been editing the clips, and I got invited on this, and then I'm trying to get this Ben Jones interview in later.
Yep,
so
I know you got it soon. Don't want to take too much of your time.
It's just been a packed week. You know what I'm saying? So but definitely I will probably have to hop off here in a little bit.
No problem.
I do want to rewatch that. That Wellmaker and Ailing fight, man. That was such a
dude. It was so good.
I'm honestly I'm so happy that I got fight of the night. That deserved it. My god,
you got
if
that
I didn't
bonus,
get it, I was gonna be so pissed.
That was a crazy performance. I was, like I said earlier in the episode, like the coaching and the call outs was great. So seeing that Ben Jones interview, I'll definitely check that out just because I was like, you could hear Joe and John talking about how vocal he was during the fight. And that was just probably the best coaching I've ever seen. Especially, I'm so glad we're able to hear it.
Dude, I mean, if you have ever gone to a regional MMA event in California, you have no surprise about what Ben Jones was able to go ahead and do on Saturday. I mean, he is one of the best in terms of being able to navigate his athletes and being able to coach them to success. So when I seen it happening, I was like, dude, this is exactly what I formulated. If he was able to go ahead and have success, Ethan is a very, very capable athlete of dealing with the Wellmaker issues, and I think he took the perfect route to victory in terms of using the clinch, using the kind of cage grappling, didn't really try and go too much into Wellmaker's plan. I think he takes an overhand right in the first round, and that's really the only damage he takes.
And he bounced back quick.
He bounced back. He bounces right back up. So I think it's a very interesting take, and so. Yeah, no, very happy to go ahead and talk to him a little bit later. Very happy to go ahead and be blessed with the opportunity to speak to you boys, and then also be blessed with the opportunity to go ahead and edit these clips for BKFC. Just it's a good life we're living right now, man. Good life. Just gotta keep on the gas pedal,
Appreciate it, man. Another fellow Hernandez. My last name's Hernandez, so just gotta support the boy.
That's what's up, baby.
Cool.
I love to hear it, man.
So,
baby. We
go.
getting the name out there, man. We got Anthony, we got Zoe, we got Michael, man. We building the empire.
Hey,
baby.
one day at a time, man. One day at a time. So I just wanted to support, man.
Like how I said, representation through presentation, baby.
I think that would be a good interview for you as well, Anthony Hernandez, man. I know he recently got injured, but
we did one before, but he had got hurt in the lead up to his first fight against. I think he was supposed to fight. Oh, he was supposed to fight DDP, and we did an interview before that, but he ended up getting hurt. So obviously, a lot of that interview kind of was talking about the DDP fight. So I ended up scrapping it. But no, me and Anthony are pretty cool. I definitely may have to do another collaboration one of these days
For sure.
with them. And I know he doesn't really like the interviews, but I know a lot of people love hearing from him. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's very different. You know, he's not really too expressive of himself. You know what I mean?
He's
but
a
in the
character,
cage,
man.
He smokes a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Lazy.
Chiefing it up. Yeah. Chiefing. Yeah, for sure. So I think that'll be cool. So is there anything else that we should be looking out for? I know we got this bare knuckle stuff, Ben Jones interview. Anything planned for the rest of the year? Any big teams?
What do we got planned for the rest of the year? That's a good plan, man. December 13th, 559 Fights 119. I'll be commentating that card. It'll be live on the 559 Fights YouTube. If you are a member of the
Check it out.
YouTube, you go ahead and just purchase that subscription. I believe it's $4 or $5, and you go ahead and hear my beautiful voice talking for 4 or 5 hours. Or if you are local from Bakersfield, so you actually are in Luxo, you can go ahead and watch on my TV 53. And you can go ahead and
where are the fights at?
On your local TV provider. They are at the Visalia Convention Center. So if you want to go ahead and attend them in person, should be about 3 title fights headlining that card. So really excited to go ahead and be talking the action on that one. But other than that, man, don't got any plans for the rest of the year, I believe. I think it's kind of a slower half of 2025. So, it'll be just December 13th. I think I'm working that event. And then may have
Saturday.
something planned on December 6th. I don't know exactly. I feel like that December 6th date has been in my head for
that's at UFC 323.
Yeah, I may end up to Vegas for that. May head out to Vegas for that.
I'm gonna be out there, bro.
Possibly going and talking to some athletes and possibly trying to snag some interviews and stuff like that. So may do that, but that's not completely in the plans yet. It's November 17th, so I got to get on it fast. So.
Yeah, time's moving, but
that'll be awesome.
Man.
Time's ticking.
Yes, sir. But thank you, Michael. Appreciate you for coming on the show. We'd love to have you back, man. I know we're just just chopping it up. You love UFC, MMA, bare knuckle. Just want to give props and just appreciate you for taking your time to be here with us.
I appreciate you hitting me up, man. I appreciate the love. I appreciate you guys showing love on the content. Yeah, anytime you boys want me back on, you got me on Instagram. You hit me up, dude. As long as I ain't working or doing nothing, I got you guys. So just
for sure, man. Thank you,
Michael.
Man. Appreciate it.
Hey, take care, brother.
Thank you, guys.
Later.
Later.
Go for that.